Alright, welcome back. Up to now, we have been focusing on structure. We build components, created variants, and controlled them using properties like text, Boolean, and instance swap. Everything works, but one thing is still missing. Right now, if you want to see a hover or pressed state, you have to manually switch variants from the properties panel. That's fine while building, but that's not how real interfaces behave. In real products, buttons change automatically based on user actions. When someone hovers, the style changes. When they press, it changes again. When they release, it goes back. Smart component interactions let us simulate that behavior directly inside the component. So instead of switching variants manually, Figma switches them for us based on interactions. That's what we are going to set up in this video. If you haven't watched episode 9 and episode 10, I recommend watching them first because this video directly based on components, variants, and properties. I have added the links in the description, but I'll still show everything clearly so you can follow along. Let's start by creating a simple button again. I'm using a frame, not a shape, because frames give us full control over layout and interactions later. Inside the frame, I'll add text that says button. Also apply auto layout, so spacing stays consistent. Now I'll select everything, right click and create a component. This is our base component. Next, I'll click on this add variant button and add two more variants of this button. One variant for the hover state and another variant will be the pressed state. I'll make small visual changes so each state is easy to recognize. The exact design doesn't matter here. What matters is that each state is visually different. Before adding interactions, I'll rename the variants to default, hover, and pressed. Clear naming is important here because interactions rely on this structure. Now the component is ready. Now I'm going to switch to the prototype tab. Up to now, we were working in design, which controls how things look. Prototype is where we defined how things react. I'll start by selecting the default variant. On the right sidebar, I'll click Add Interaction. For the trigger, I'll choose while hovering. This means the moment the cursor enters the button. For the action, I'll choose Change To and then select the hover variant. For animation, I'll use Smart Animate and keep the duration short. I am not changing the curve right now. We will talk about curves later when we focus on motion details. Now I'll move to the hover variant. I'll add another interaction here. For the trigger, I'll choose mouse leap. This means when the cursor moves away from the button. For this action, I will choose Change To and select Default. Smart Animate stays on and I'll keep the duration as it is. At this point, the hover behavior is complete. Now let's add the pressed state. I'll select the hover variant again and add one more interaction. For the trigger, I'll choose mouse down. This happens the moment the user presses the mouse button. For the action, I'll choose Change To and select pressed. Animation stays on Smart Animate. Next, I'll select the pressed variant. I'll add another interaction. For the trigger, I'll choose mouse up. This happens when the user releases the click. For the action, I'll choose Change To and select hover. Again, Smart Animate. Now let's test this. When I hover over the button, it switches to the hover state. When I press the mouse, it changes to the pressed state. When I release the mouse, it goes back to the hover. And when I move the cursor away, it returns to the default state. All of this is happening inside the component itself. That means every instance of this button will behave the same way, without adding interactions again on each screen. Now let's make this a bit more realistic. In real products, buttons are not always interactive. Sometimes a button needs to be disabled. So I'll duplicate one of the existing variants. This new one will be the disabled state. I'll reduce the opacity and remove any visual hover feedback so it clearly looks inactive. Then I'll rename this variant to disabled. One important thing here, I'm not adding any hover or press interactions to this button. So when the button switches to disabled, nothing happens on hover or click. This is intentional. Good interaction design is not just about adding behavior, it's also about removing behavior when interaction shouldn't be allowed. Now let's quickly talk about Smart Animate. Smart Animate works best when all variants share the same structure. That means the same layers, same layout, and the same naming. If animations ever feel broken or jumpy, it usually means something doesn't match between the variant. That's not a motion problem, that's a structure problem. Keeping your components clear makes interactions feel smooth and predictable. Now let me show you how this works in a real design. I'll drag the button from the assets panel onto the canvas. As soon as it's on the screen, it already behaves correctly. I don't need to add any interactions again. If I duplicate this button multiple times, every instance behaves the same way. Hover works, press works, and release works. This is why interactions should live inside components. You define the behavior once, and every instance inherits it automatically. That's how you keep your designs consistent and easy to manage. Now let's summarize. We took a basic button component, we created variants from different states, we connected those variants using prototype interactions, we used Smart Animate to keep transitions smooth, we handled hover, press, and disabled behavior inside one system. This is the mindset shift. You are no longer just designing screens, you are designing behavior. In the next episode, we will go deeper with nested components and overrides. If this episode helped you, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.